Hi, and welcome back to another installment of Getting to Know You. I'm your host, Jen Dawson, PeDRA's Outreach Manager, and joining me today is Milie Fang. She's a fourth-year medical student at Marian University, and she's been a PeDRA member now for a couple of years, having presented most recently at our virtual conference back in 2020 on itch and how it impacts the daily lives of children who are facing chronic inflammatory diseases. Thanks so much for being with us today, Milie.
Thank you for having me. Super excited to be here.
Yay. So let's just jump right in and give me a little bit about your background, your history, maybe where you're from, and what led you to medicine.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to come up with a good short version of it all, but I'm originally from the northwest suburbs of Chicago, and really what sparked my interest in medicine was my own health problems. I had very moderate to severe atopic dermatitis my senior year of high school. And, I kind of had like a light bulb moment, like, hey, like I've been dealing with this for so long. And maybe I should consider, really taking responsibility for it, learning more about myself and my health. And so during college, I joined a wound healing lab my freshman year. Because I listened to an MD PhD like talk about her work with progeria,
Mm.
and it was just really inspiring to me. And she's like, yeah, if you might be interested in research, definitely get involved as quickly or, as soon as possible early in your career to see if that's something you're interested in. And at that time I was like, oh my God, that's what I want to do. Like, at that time there wasn't, dupilumab or these, new biologics, and it was really just, steroids or oral immunosuppressives. So I was just like really motivated to do that. And then yeah, I just grew to love research at that time. And then I also wanted to know, on the physician side, what, if those other qualities were important to me too. So I got to work as an ER scribe during college as well to get that, physician side. So that's kind of what led me down to medicine. And I'm just so happy, I'm at the point now in my fourth year of med school, applying to dermatology and hoping to find out next Friday if I where I'm at. It's
Soon, so soon.
been a long road.
Oh, yes, a very long road. And, one that sounds deeply personal to you, having had the experience of that atopic dermatitis in a really impressionable year in your life, that's got to be hard. So I was going to ask you if you really saw yourself as a future in pediatric dermatology research, but it sounds like you're a lifer, having lived it yourself.
Yeah, because I've had it since I was 4. And so like when I saw these kids, during my research year at Northwestern, so I took that between my third and fourth year of med school, to just find out, like, is dermatology for me, or is it,
Right.
just in my head? Just, I just only had personal experience. I wanted to have some objective experience too. But
Right.
yeah, when I saw these kids itching the way they were, just miserable, flaring, I was like, oh my gosh, like I know how that feels, and it's terrible. You can't function, you can't do anything. And you start to internalize like what that could mean, like, oh, like I must have been bad in like my past life or something, or like you start to it really affects your mental health. And so I think that really is what attracts me in pediatric dermatology
Mm.
is the impact on mental health and your quality of life. So that's something I'd like to help patients with in the future.
Absolutely. So, can you talk a little bit more in depth about your research year and kind of how that is set you up for maybe what you want to research in the future?
Yeah, I had never done clinical research
Okay.
until that year. Before that, I worked with like mice doing some, basic science bench work during
Mhm,
college.
mhm.
And so doing the research year really helped me um, see how as a patient, like how you can impact research, which I never um, like I thought that'd be a no-brainer, but I guess more and more recently, you might have heard, patient-reported outcomes as being a
Mhm,
really big part of clinical research,
mhm.
where the patient voice is really, being kind of front and center, or at least like alongside the clinical questions that physicians
Oh,
have and
absolutely.
scientists. So I think yeah, having that foundation is really important. And I loved it so much. I hope in my future I can also do clinical research so that, if I have a patient who's very, severe, and maybe they don't want to be on, whatever is a conventional treatment at that time. Luckily there are lots of drugs going under investigation that could be another great option for them.
Absolutely. So can you talk a little bit about maybe some mentors that have inspired you and what kind of wisdom they've imparted thus far in your life and your career?
Yeah, probably the biggest mentor is my PI during my research here. So Dr. Amy Paller, she is this amazing world-renowned pediatric dermatologist. She had like over 30 studies going on, and somehow I was, trying to keep up with all the ones that I was a part of. And her clinics were always so much fun and so interesting. And she she's so passionate, so intelligent, and what I love the most is that she's really there for her patients. So every single new
Mhm.
patient that she has, she always gives her card, which has her email. And, I heard she gets like 600 emails a day, but she can reply to them within like 24 hours. Like, I don't know how she does it.
She's
um,
superhuman.
yeah, she really is. And so it's wonderful to have a mentor like that because, um, you can see like really what I think what it takes, but also she does make time for family.
Hmm.
And I think, and she can't be very, like motherly too. She makes sure like you're doing okay. And yeah, I love that. So she's a wonderful mentor.
Oh, I love that too. Amy is, or excuse me, Dr. Paller is just an absolute powerhouse. And I think we all look to her, whether you're a researcher, a clinician, or just, on the administrative side like me, and just in awe. She's really inspiring. Can you talk about what it was like coming to the 2019 PeDRA meeting as really a relatively early medical student, and what that experience was like for you?
Yeah, it was incredible. I was so happy when I was there because before that, I had a bunch of clinical trials that I was on, but I didn't see like the bigger picture
Mm,
of each of them. Like I was just kind of going through the motions, just trying to know, like, okay, like for this study, I need to do this, and then this, and then this.
right.
And so one study I was in a part of, it was for Pachyonychia congenita. It's a new investigational drug,
Hmm.
and when I went to PeDRA, the PC project, they had a representative. And when I learned that the way that they were able to even get this like drug investigation going was because of the FDA meeting with the patient advocacy
Hmm.
groups, which I got to learn all of that at PeDRA. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I get it now. Like I think when you come into a project, if you're not there at the inception, you can kind of feel disconnected. And so what PeDRA
Absolutely.
did for me was just connect the dots, and that propelled me in terms of like the motivation and really wanting to get to know these patients better, and just how much um, the disease has affected their lives, but also like what it could mean for a drug to help with their pain, etc.
Mm. I'm really hearing how patient focused you are. And that's so valuable to bring to our network because really from the beginning, PeDRA has been very focused on the patients. And we've just really been able to grow our network of advocacy organizations. And so bringing in medical students who are seeing the value of how patients are affecting research and changing the research model is just really cool. And there's so much energy that gets
Yeah.
to keep moving forward in the network because of medical students like you. So let's flash forward. You're all done with residency, you're all done with fellowship. What does your future look like?
Yeah. And I got that question a lot in my interviews.
I bet you did.
So, I really enjoyed working with kids during my research year with Dr. Paller. So I definitely want to keep seeing kids.
Mhm.
But I do remember like one patient she saw who was 23. So,
Right.
not quite a young a child, but I just remember Dr. Paller was like, you need to graduate and go find yourself an adult dermatologist, And I was like, oh, like, if I saw someone at a young age, like, grow up, and I'd love to still see them. So I think I'd
Yeah.
still like to see adults too.
Hmm.
I really enjoy teaching, so I'd love to be involved with, resident education or med student education. And then, like as I said earlier, clinical research, I really enjoyed it. So I'd hope to also continue with that as well.
Oh, fabulous. I think you're going to go a long way, certainly within the PeDRA network. We're absolutely going to need you as you move through your education and into your career. So before I let you go, is there a hobby or a hidden talent that you would like to share with our viewers?
Yeah, I took Polish in college for
Oh
fun
my
'cause I'm
goodness.
crazy. So, I every day I do a lesson on Duolingo, which is
Oh,
like a
wow.
free language app, and then
Mhm.
right now I'm also working on my Spanish, so just teaching that myself. But Polish, I formally did take some
Okay.
courses during undergrad, so that's my little hobby.
Wow. That's awesome. So you're going to be able to be a multilingual physician.
Yeah, that's the goal.
Yeah.
And like I have had moments, inpatient care that I've had to like use it. Like actually when I was with Dr. Paller, I remember one girl and her mom, they were Polish and they were speaking together, and I was like, oh, cool. It was so cute. And it was really amazing because the girl, she like didn't want to be touched or anything. She was like, no, I don't want to be here.
Yeah.
But then once I like spoke Polish to her, she was like, oh my gosh, her eyes just widened, and then she smiled, and I was like, wow, like I'm able to make these kind of connections because I'm
Yeah.
pushing myself to do that. So
See, there you go. That Polish you thought you took because you were crazy actually matters.
yeah,
Yeah,
I love it.
especially to that patient. Uh, so many wonderful stories with you, Millie. I feel like we could talk all day. I
Yeah.
so appreciate your time and for being with us on getting to know you. And I'm just really looking forward to all the work that you're going to be doing, both in PeDRA and in your career. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me again. Really appreciate it. So
A very special thanks to Milie Fang for joining us today. You can check out this video and more by going to www.pedraresearch.org. You can also find us on Twitter at PeDRA Research, Facebook at facebook.com/PeDRA and you can download us on Google Podcasts, Spotify, and iTunes, and wherever you get your podcasts.